first a little bit about, your background and what got you involved and interested in, becoming, getting involved in the accounting industry and becoming a CPA.
Sure. So coming out of high school, didn't really have a clear and concise view of what I wanted to do. I was always strong in math, and you take kind of those placement tests or career path tests in high school to figure out which professions work well or with your skill set. So I'd usually get engineer or something in business or banking, and one of the things I actually got was actuary. So I was and even then I didn't actually know what it was. I just knew it had to do with math and numbers, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is a good profession. I was searching around for different schools that had the program, and um, in the state, I believe that U of M is the only one that kind of has a concentration in actuarial sciences, at least the one from the schools that I was looking at. But I got accepted to Michigan State and not U of M.
Go green.
I go white. So I saw that accounting was fairly comparable, at least in my Google searches back in 2007, to actuaries. So I picked accounting as my major. Started at MSU with that, and once I actually started taking my major classes, I found that I actually enjoyed it. It was very interesting to me. And then NABA was one of the primary organizations that I got involved in on campus.
Okay.
So there's a group at Michigan State of minority, multicultural business programs, and NABA is a part of that larger umbrella, specific for obviously accountants. And, meeting those students who were involved with that Michigan State chapter really kind of propelled me to want to stay involved in the profession. And I actually got my first kind of summer intern type of program through KPMG as a result of attending a NABA conference in Chicago, or Indianapolis. So that's how I got involved with NABA. And post graduation, I started out at KPMG in audit, and I had friends who stayed involved in the local chapter, so NABA Detroit, and they would constantly hound me to stay in, come to meetings and give back and make sure you stay involved even on a professional level.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I did, and now I am the treasurer of the NABA Detroit chapter. So it's kind of
that's awesome.
Full story there.
Yeah, that's quite the journey.
Yeah.
So I know that NABA is very active, the Detroit chapter, and has certainly been a partner of the MICPA for some time. So tell us a little bit more about NABA and what your goals are, your mission, and what you're looking to accomplish as an organization.
Sure. So NABA, which stands for National Association of Black Accountants, it's a nationwide membership organization. So we have obviously the national chapter, but then we kind of have regional groups and then the local chapters in each state. So, and then maybe multiple in the state if it's a large state. So the Detroit chapter was founded in 1969, and it's been going strong ever since. Our motto is lifting as we climb. So we're all about kind of giving back and trying to bring up that next generation of accountants. Currently, not many people know, but I believe in terms of CPAs, there's about 5,000 to 6,000 Black CPAs in the U.S. as of like 2019, 2020 timeframe, out of a total of 650,000 approximately. So we're coming in. Yeah, we're coming in 1% or slightly lower than 1%. Right. So it really is our mission and purpose to develop and encourage and serve the African American community and those who are trying to pursue a career in accounting. So we have training and development type of sessions and meetings for professionals. We encourage Black students to explore the field of accounting, both at we have a ACAP program, which is a week-long program for high school students to get exposed to and learn about the profession, meet professionals of different occupations to kind of pique their interest. And then obviously we support our collegiate chapters. So I believe we're at approximately seven, maybe 8 schools in the state that have student chapters, and we do our best to support them in their endeavors. And they have regional conferences, so we try to cover some of their costs, like transportation, to get to these conferences. At least pre-COVID, they would have different locations where they would have these conferences. But yeah, so we try to support both on a professional level, collegiate level, and then kind of that pipeline at the high school level.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me more. I'll jump around the questions a little bit because since you talked about it, what would you recommend in particular to support Black students, considering a career in accounting or as a CPA, or kind of help guide them to become a CPA in the future?
For sure. So, I think one of the biggest things is just kind of putting the information out there in front of them. Because again, like I said, even as a high school student, for me, I didn't know any accountants. I wasn't actually introduced to the profession itself. I was lucky enough to kind of stumble upon it through my own research, so to speak. But I think reaching out to students who are, at least on the earlier scale, or at that high school level, reaching out to them early on to put it in front of them as an option. That early exposure is pretty key. Once they're actually in college and maybe selected their major, it's always great for them to receive scholarships to kind of fill any financial gaps. That's a big thing in the Black community, trying to essentially afford the education for this profession. And we obviously know about post college and trying to pursue the CPA exam, but even that, the pathway to becoming a CPA, it would be great for people to have guidance and support for the exam itself, but then the preparation leading up to it. So knowing the credit requirements, knowing what it really takes from a study standpoint, even the materials themselves, knowing that those are that's a financial investment, and kind of understanding the ROI on that upfront investment from a student perspective, because that's something I didn't necessarily grasp as a student. Like I was told that, okay, you have to get 150 credits in order to sit. You have to, take these 4 parts. But I didn't necessarily comprehend, oh, okay, like this is a license that you have to maintain, first of all, but like if you truly maintain it and operate in it, then it could take you, wherever you want to take it. So again, I just think about just continuing to kind of educate as much as possible and be there throughout the steps of that career path. I think it's important to kind of help students really reach the pinnacle.
So switching gears a little bit. So what are some key voices in the African American community that you look up to?
So this is a very big question, so to speak. You have your accounting profession, but then you have your personal life and
Sure.
things that kind of speak to you. For me, like family is big. So there are people in my family, my parents and my older cousins, who really help guide me just in life. But from I guess a more professional level, I think it's great that we have some individuals within the organization who are kind of trailblazers, whether they be from the past or present. So one person who's a staple in NABA Detroit history, if you will, is Betty Maple, who was a former partner at Deloitte for quite a number of years. And she actually leads our ACAP program every year. And she's been doing it since its inception 21 years ago.
Wow.
And she really is a staple of our model, lifting as we climb. She really does go all out for the students, the high school students, to give them an amazing experience, to really charge them up and get excited about the profession. We also have a few other members kind of scattered around different areas. So Will Love, who is a partner here, he's at EY. So he's a current partner at EY, and he is again a young Black male, in the profession who is knocking down doors and leading the way for that next generation. Noel Abdul Rahim, who is a partner she's from Detroit, but she's actually in the Atlanta office. And she's actually, for Atlanta PwC, she's the first Black woman, female partner in the PwC Atlanta office. So again, just another example of two individuals who are really trying their best and really putting their money where their mouth is in terms of pushing the profession forward and being an example to those who are coming behind them.
What are some ways that associations or organizations can, better support or give back to the Black community?
I think that, I've kind of touched on a few things. I think it's big to that early exposure piece. So educating people early on, again, so they can know that it's possible. It's something that's out there that right now it's underrepresented in our community. So they could be, somewhat unique is in terms of standing out against the crowd. Also, I don't know that people associate like accounting and being a CPA with much in the Black community other than doing your taxes. Mm-hmm. So kind of exposing all the different options and right. all the variety and diversity within the field is huge. Something that even me personally, I wish I would have known more about. It's kind of, I don't even think this is necessarily to the Black community. I think it's to students at large, just understanding kind of the breadth that they can really explore in the field. So early exposure is one. Strategic partnerships like MICPA and NABA, where, if you are an organization who, if you're directly involved with the community, then it's easy to kind of reach, it's easy to reach out to the community or your constituents. But if you're not directly involved, it's sometimes more effective to support those who are. So seeking out organizations that are already touching and doing things within whatever target community you're looking at and supporting them in ways that they need. Also, one big thing I think is just kind of meeting us where we are, meeting people where they are, because it's easy to kind of opine and formulate a solution to what you believe is the problem. You know what I mean? To come in the door with like, okay, we got X, Y, Z for you. Here's these pamphlets. Here's all this information, which, when you're formulating all that in kind of a closed door behind closed doors and you're talking about it, it all sounds great. But then when you go and try to present it to the target audience, if that's not something that they need at the time, or it may be something that's necessary, but it may take 3 or 4 steps before to get them up to a point where it's like, okay, now I can actually use this what So again, just kind of meeting people where they are and trying to better understand what exactly their issues or hangups are. I think that's really important. Now, I mean, that's with our community, but I just think that's kind of a people problem in general. People don't usually listen to what people are actually saying. They just kind of impose upon what they think they hear or what they think is the problem. So just a few things.
That's kind of exactly what I would say the journey that we've embarked on at the MICPA is really to learn and to listen and to see how where we can play our part in, especially in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what we can do to better be an ally and better support, organizations like NABA. So, I mean, that was kind of one of the other questions too, is what can our members do to become a better ally of NABA, and what can we do to help you with your mission?
I think just being intentional about the partnership. So it's been great over the last, just under a year, I think. I feel like obviously in my CPA, but there's been other organizations who have, I think, kind of kind of realized or had the world shaken, however that happened, whether it's the pandemic or the racial injustice or whatever, the election, whatever it was, to kind of jar people
Yeah.
into realizing like, okay, these things are deeper than just talking points on CNN and Fox. Like these things really need to be talked about amongst within and outside of your community with individuals who look like yourself and who don't look like you.
Right.
So again, just being strategic and intentional. But it really has been great to be allowed to have these conversations, people such as yourself and other members and leadership at the MICPA, to truly feel like, okay, we're all sitting at the same table having a conversation, and everyone's willing to hear what's going on and what's really needed, and just kind of continue to provide those resources. We're trying to work and develop on our CPE offerings as a chapter, because that's one area where we feel we can grow and help our professional members. So really trying to solidify our processes on the back end to make sure that the offerings not only are up to par in terms of how we execute them, but the actual topics that we're bringing to people are actually relevant and up to date. Also trying to help us reach different, kind of the different groups or different types of professionals. I feel like most of the time when people think of accounting, CPA, especially coming out of school, it's easy to think about the firms, audit, tax, advisory, but almost kind of break out of that typical mode a little bit. I started out at a big Ford, and I went to a small consulting firm, and now I'm at Ford. And it's surprising to talk to people, even other accountants or finance professionals who are Black, who have never heard of NABA, not well versed with MICPA, because they've been in their career for 15, 20 years. They may have pursued a CPA late, or not necessarily interested in a CPA, but just not well versed in kind of the resources that are out there, the information that's out there. So again, MICPA, I feel like, can do great in terms of supporting us in trying to reach out to our constituents, but then vice versa, having us be allowed to come in and learn and listen to what you all have going on, to lend our voice and to, again, let you know that we're around, we exist, we want to be, we want to be a part of furthering the profession. I think this, like I said, the past, 3/4 of the year have been really encouraging, in terms of you all coming in and really putting in the effort to say, okay, how can we help? Where can we fit in, into the picture? And here's where you can fit into our picture. I think it's been really great. So
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Oh, well, I can assure you it's going to continue. And, this isn't something that we're just, this isn't a feel good thing for us. We want to participate. We want to move the needle, and doing it together is the way to do it. I've been using the term better together because we are. And I think, I appreciate you saying that. I think we're making strides. We're having conversations. I'm looking forward to doing even more. And I think we'll even, once we get through a little bit more of the pandemic and we can get together again, and then I think we'll even see more opportunity to be together and brainstorm and see how we can help move the needle. Absolutely.